I can still see her smile in that candlelight. Soft, easy, the kind you give someone who knows your secrets. But that night, the smile wasn't for me. It was for her phone. She laughed. Just once. Quiet, and to herself. The kind of laugh you let slip when no one's supposed to notice. But I did. I always noticed her. That's the part that still stings. The text came in right as the dessert plates hit the table. Our 10th anniversary. The waiter brought out some layered chocolate creation with our names scrawled in white icing. And just as he was lighting the candle, her phone buzzed on the table. One short vibration. Nothing dramatic. But she glanced down, caught the name on the screen, work, and laughed. Then, like she was hiding a child's secret drawing, she turned the phone face down. That was it. No apology. No sorry, just something from the office. Just laughter and concealment. And I didn't say a word. She leaned over, kissed my cheek like nothing happened, and thanked me for the dinner. I smiled back, tasted the wine, and swallowed everything else I wanted to say. The next morning, I sent a bouquet of white lilies and pale pink roses to her boss's wife. I didn't include a card. I knew her name from the holiday parties. We'd made small talk by the shrimp cocktails last Christmas. She wore green velvet and spoke with an elegance that didn't match the smugness I now suspected hid beneath her husband's handshake. Her smile had been real, though, warm. I remembered thinking she deserved better. I didn't expect anything to come from it. The flowers weren't a message, they were a question. And I think she knew it. Back to that night. We were seated in a quiet corner of the restaurant, our table lit by a single flame in a brass holder. The kind of place where waiters refill your wine glass before you realize it's half empty. She wore navy blue, a dress I hadn't seen in months. The one with the open back and the subtle gold chain that rested between her shoulders like a whisper. I used to trace that chain with my fingers. I remember that. I remember loving her. She talked about her work. Not in detail, of course. She always said I wouldn't understand the marketing world, but she mentioned deadlines, clients, stress. I nodded along, asked the right questions, but all I kept thinking about was that text. That little laugh. Who makes you laugh like that at 9:47 p.m. on your anniversary? We finished dinner. She offered to split a dessert, which I found ironic. The same woman who used to steal bites from my plate now wanted to divide something evenly. I agreed, not because I wanted the dessert, but because I wanted to see if she'd check her phone again. She didn't. Not once. She was careful now. I drove us home in silence. She hummed softly to the music, something jazzy, something curated, and I kept my hands at 10 and 2 like I was driving a stranger. We passed the coffee shop where we'd met. It was closed for the night. Lights off. I stared at the empty windows and felt the weight of irony settle in. When we got home, she kicked off her heels and said she was exhausted, kissed me lightly on the lips, and padded off to the bathroom. I sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the dark screen of our television, listening to the water run behind the door. I didn't check her phone. That's the thing. I could have. It was right there on the nightstand. She always used the same passcode, her dad's birthday. But I didn't need to. I already knew. Her face had said enough. So I just sat there. Still, tired in a way I hadn't known I could be. I remembered our wedding day, how she laughed when I fumbled the ring, how we danced barefoot in the reception hall when the music ran too long. I remembered the first apartment we shared, the night we stayed up until 3 a.m., just talking about everything and nothing. She used to draw constellations on my arm with her finger and name them after places we wanted to visit. When did that stop? Maybe it wasn't one moment. Maybe it was a slow fade, like a song that lowers volume so subtly you don't notice until the room is quiet. Maybe I stopped tracing her chain. Maybe she stopped naming stars. The next morning, I brewed coffee like always. She was in the shower, steam curling out of the cracked bathroom door. I stood at the kitchen counter and stared at the bouquet order on my phone. It felt surreal, typing her boss's wife's name into the delivery address field. Like walking into your own dream with a matchstick in hand. I hit send. Then I deleted the confirmation email and poured the coffee into her favorite mug, the one with the chipped handle she swore she'd replace, but never did. She took it with a smile, kissed my cheek again, and thanked me for being sweet. I didn't smile back. Something was unraveling, quietly, thread by thread, and I wasn't sure if I was watching it happen or pulling the thread myself. She didn't ask about the flowers. Not that day, not the next. I half expected her to come storming into the kitchen, phone in hand, demanding to know why I would do something so inappropriate. So uncalled for. But she didn't. Which made me think, maybe the wife hadn't said anything. Or maybe she already knew. Maybe my wife wasn't his first. The morning after I sent them, something shifted in her eyes. Subtle. Like she knew a door had opened somewhere in the house. But she couldn't quite tell which one or who had walked through it. She was quieter than usual. Made her toast, poured her coffee, kissed my cheek before leaving for work like it was a script she was determined to follow perfectly. I watched her pull out of the driveway, and for a second, I wondered how long she'd been living a performance. I waited until she was gone, then I sat on the floor of our bedroom, back against the closet door. I didn't cry. I didn't rage. I just let the silence crawl into the space where trust used to live. That afternoon, her boss's wife followed me on Instagram. It was a small gesture, but I caught it. Her account was private. She had no reason to reach out. No post, no message. Just a quiet follow. Like a nod from across the room at a funeral. That was the first confirmation. That night, my wife came home late. "Work dinner," she said, setting her purse down by the door. I asked if she was tired. She said no, just needed a shower. I sat in the living room and listened to the water again, watched the light flicker under the doorframe. Then I checked my phone. Her boss's wife had posted something. A single photo, a wilted bouquet in the trash. No caption, no tags. But I knew. I sat there, heart thudding in my ears like footsteps in an empty hallway. Not angry, not broken, just wide awake. When she came out of the shower, towel twisted in her hair, skin glowing from steam, she smiled and asked if I wanted to watch something. We used to binge shows together. That was our thing. She'd curl into my side, toss popcorn at me during tense scenes, make wild predictions. Now she sat across the couch, legs tucked under her, scrolling absently. We watched something forgettable. I couldn't tell you what it was. All I could focus on was how far apart we were, even when we were inches away. I remember glancing at her hands. She still wore her ring. So did I? That felt cruel, somehow. Like holding onto the title of a job you haven't done in months. We didn't talk much that night. Or the next. But the distance? That did all the talking. 3 days later, the silence broke, but not from her. Her boss's wife sent me a message. 3 words. I know now. No greeting. No explanation. Just that. I didn't reply. I didn't need to. We were 2 people staring at the same shattered picture from different angles. Later that evening, my wife asked if I was okay. I looked at her then. Really looked. She had mascara under one eye, a small pimple near her lip, the faint lines forming near her brow that she always tried to hide with expensive creams. She looked tired. Real. And I almost said it. Almost asked, "Is it him?" But I didn't. Instead, I said, "I'm fine." She nodded, and something in her relaxed. She wanted me to believe her story, even if she hadn't told it yet. It was easier that way. But that night, when she fell asleep beside me, her body angled away, as it had been for months. I stared at the ceiling and whispered a truth I hadn't admitted aloud. "I don't trust you anymore." I wasn't trying to wake her. I just needed the words to exist outside my skull. I needed the air to hear them, because maybe then I could start to believe it myself. We spent the rest of the week moving around each other like dancers with different choreographies. Every move carefully timed, never quite colliding, never quite connecting. She smiled more, like she was trying to patch something invisible. I matched her tone, her rhythm. I still made her coffee. I still folded her laundry. But inside, I was elsewhere. I started looking at apartments on my lunch breaks. Nothing serious. Just window shopping. 1 bedroom. Quiet street. Someplace I could sit and breathe. Someplace I didn't have to pretend. And still, I didn't confront her. Because the truth? I wasn't ready to watch her lie to my face. It happened on a Sunday. A quiet one. Overcast sky, leaves stuck to the driveway from last night's rain. She was folding laundry in the bedroom, humming something off-key, and I was standing at the kitchen window staring at our backyard like it held some kind of answer. That's when my phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't pick up, but something made me. A hunch, maybe. Or maybe I just needed the story to end. "Is this Daniel?" a woman's voice asked. "Yes," I said slowly. "This is Natalie," she said. "Ethan's wife." It took me a second. Ethan. Her boss. I felt the floor shift under me. She didn't wait. "I got your flowers." I appreciated the silence in them. "But I need to know how long." I cleared my throat. "I don't know." "You knew something." "Yes." I heard her sigh. A long, exhausted thing. I checked his phone. Yesterday, he left it unlocked. There were pictures. I closed my eyes. I confronted him this morning, she continued. He admitted it. Said it's been going on for almost a year. There it was. A year. 12 months of working late, of phone calls in the other room, of laughter over hidden texts. I'm sorry, I said. She laughed, bitter. Don't be. You didn't lie to me in my own house. The call ended quietly. No theatrics. Just another door closing. I walked up the stairs like a man underwater. The bedroom was warm. She was folding a sweater. Mine. The same one I wore the night we first said I love you. The memory hit like a punch. Who was that? She asked, not looking up. Natalie. Her hands froze. A heartbeat. Then two. Why would she call you? She knows, I said. My voice sounded different, hollow calm. She saw the pictures. Her mouth opened, but no words came. Just a small, breathless noise. Then she sat on the bed, sweater still in her lap. I didn't shout. I didn't accuse. I just asked, why him? She blinked hard, tears gathering. I don't know. Yes, you do. She looked away. He listened. I felt seen. I don't know when it started. It wasn't supposed to be real. But it was. She nodded slowly, shame painting every part of her. I sat in the chair by the window, the one she used for late-night reading. Was it ever about us? Were you even here this last year? She wiped her face. I was trying. I swear. But I felt like I was disappearing, Dan. Like we were roommates. We could have fixed that. I didn't think you wanted to. I laughed. It came out wrong, sharp and broken. So you didn't ask. You just found someone else. She stood, walked over, reached for my hand. I still love you. I looked at her, and for a moment I saw her. Not the liar. Not the stranger. Just her. The girl I danced with in the rain. The woman who held my hand in hospital waiting rooms. The one who used to laugh in her sleep. I believe you, I said. But love isn't the question anymore. She crumbled then. Fully. The truth cracked something inside her, and she sat on the floor beside me, sobbing into her hands. And I just sat there. Not cold. Not cruel. Just done. 2 weeks later, I moved into a small apartment downtown. Hardwood floors. Big windows. A space that didn't smell like old memories. The divorce wasn't messy. We didn't fight about the couch or the plates or who got to keep the record player. We just split like people who had already been gone a long time. She texted me once after I moved out. I miss you. Every day? I didn't reply. Because here's the truth. Love doesn't always leave when the person does. Sometimes it lingers like smoke in your clothes. But trust? That's different. Trust dies once. And it never comes back the same. Now, I wake up in silence and make my own coffee. No double mugs. No 2 creamers in the fridge. Just one. And when I pass the mirror each morning, I don't see a man broken by betrayal. I see a man who learned how to leave the table, quietly, finally, when love no longer looked him in the eye.